I downloaded a few TikTok videos of women that went on bad dates. And the reason that I want to show these is because I need you guys to get an understanding of where this need to test comes from women. And a lot of it comes from they've gone on dates in the past with men that they were just giving the benefit of the doubt. They weren't going to do or say anything to test the guy. And then on these dates, these guys did some stuff. And so I want you to do this, okay? Because these are going to be a multitude of people, right? I want you to assume that it's one woman. It's one woman that's going on all of these dates, right? So you can kind of get a feel of like over time, if a woman's experiencing all these things on dates with men that she initially thought were going to be good guys just based on what they said. Like the guy's like, I'm a great guy. I can take you out. I'm whatever. Like how that would make a woman want to start to test guys. All right. So let's pull up the screen. All right. So this first one is the guy talking about a situation that he's read about on TikTok or read about on Twitter or X, whatever. Okay. So here we go.
Woman is pissed off about her date and she's like, he's definitely not getting a second date. So on Twitter, it was this post about this woman who went on a date with this man who she found out was a doctor. So this is what the doctor ends up saying.
So real quick, he's a doctor. So she's looking at him like, oh, he's a doctor. He's got the stats I want. He's got a good job. He's probably relatively tall. Like, this is going to be a good dude. I'm going to go out with this dude and just have a great time, have a great conversation.
While they're sitting down, eating their food, they're at a restaurant, I presume. He's like, oh, did you start your cycle? It looks like your breasts are very swollen and tender. Bro.
I'm going to rewind that back. I'm going to rewind that back. I got to hear that again one more time. Okay.
Cool. It looks like your breasts are very swollen and tender. Bro really said on the first date, did you start your cycle? And commented on her breastises.
So you're not aware of this. You're going on a date with this new girl, right? You're not aware of her dating history. You're not aware of what she's been through, right? And this girl's not telling you this is an example of a date she went on. So she went on a date with a doctor who she thought was going to be a great guy. And the first thing out of his mouth is, oh, you must be on your period because you're having a cycle in your breast, blah, 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 blah. So this is, and then I don't want you to think too, this is isolated. Women experience this kind of stuff on dates all the time. And when they first start their dating journeys, they're just giving all the guys benefits of the doubt, right? They're not assuming any guy's going to do or say this kind of stuff, right? Let's get to the next person. So I want to wind back and look at this girl's a bit of a cutie. So let's look at her. So here's how she showed up for the date. She's dressed to the nines, got her hair done. She got asked up by this guy that I'm assuming she's like, oh, this is going to be a great date. He's taking me to this wonderful restaurant.
Well, I really appreciate it. Should I cover my half or?
No, I got you.
You sure? Oh, thank you.
All right. So she's like, hey, should I cover my half? And he's like, no, I got it. I'm good. It is what it is, right? Now, I know you guys are like, oh, finally, a girl is going to pay her half. That's going to be great. But why do women offer that? Well, chances are that I found they usually offer that because they don't want the guy to assume that by him paying, they're going to hook up. And so sometimes to counterbalance that, they'll say, I'll pay for my meal. It's no big deal. And that's supposed to signal to the guy hooking up's not going to happen. Most guys don't get that signal. I don't tend to try to hook up on a first date. So I totally get it. It doesn't bug me at all. But anyway.
Thank you so much. It was delicious. But I'm going to probably head up because it's late and I have to get up early in the morning.
It felt like they had a date at a hotel. She's probably staying at the hotel. Okay.
So.
Well, can I walk you to your room?
So he says, can I? Now, to be fair, there's nothing wrong with him asking, can I walk you to your room? Because as a dude, you got to try. Worst case they can say is, no, I don't want to do that. And you say, okay, cool, no problem. You can leave it alone. You put out the ask, can I walk you to your room? Oh, it's getting kind of late, blah, blah. Hey, you know what? No problem. This has been a great time. And just let me know when you get back to your room safe, but have a great evening. Boom, you're out of there. Now, she may not be interested, or she could be like, he didn't try to like follow me to my room or try to push up there. I'll give this guy a second shot. But do you think that happened?
I don't know if they allow if you're not staying in the room. It'd just be easier if you. But I appreciate dinner, and
I get it. Okay.
No, it's not like that.
I get it.
It seriously isn't. No, I mean, I don't fuck.
Man pays for dinner.
I don't fuck on the first date, and I feel like you've been kind of like, you've been acting like it this entire time. Like,
all right, you just wanted a free meal.
No.
Do you see how he's getting now? So keep in mind, she's on this date. She's not trying to test this dude. She's like, I wanted a good date. Maybe based on how he's talking right now, though, I can assure you, the conversation they probably had during dinner was probably not great. Like he was probably saying some like irrational things during dinner as well, because I can get that from the vibe he's giving right now. But the point is that she's sort of like, no, like I don't like to hook up on a first date. I just want to go upstairs. And he's just pushing the narrative like, oh, you just wanted a free meal. This is net. Again, this is her not testing this guy, right?
Oh, first off, I have no problem paying for my own bill to
okay.
avoid something like this.
Well, then go for it. Do it. Fuck it.
Are you serious right now?
Yep, just do it. Pay for your own bill.
You're a fucking asshole. Like, I have no problem.
All right. So now let's say this is the same girl. So the first date goes on a first date with a doctor, and it's like, he's like, oh, you're on your period because you're cycling, blah, 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 blah. Then she goes out to this on this date. Hey, so I'm gonna go back up to my room. Oh, you just wanted a free meal. Oh, you can pay your own meal, blah, 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 blah. And again, these are two dudes she was not trying to test, right? So now she's like, okay, crap, but I still don't want to be single, so fine. I'll find somebody else to go on a date with. So then we get to this person. So now let's say this is the same person, right? It's a different person, but it's the same person going on a date, and the date says this.
They told me to order something cheaper than the steak.
Now, some of you guys are like, oh, she's going to order a big old steak. Oh, and I've been to steakhouses where the steaks are like $80, $90, $120. Like they can get up there. So I can understand if the guy's like, whoa, hey, I don't want you to get the steak, except for this. So the steak that was so expensive, $16.75. Now, if you're not a guy that can afford to pay a minimum of $20 on a date, you do not deserve to be dating. And hey, I've said before, you can take women to free places or places that are cheap. But if you are picking out the place to take a woman on a date, you need to look at the menu in advance and make sure you can afford anything on that menu, because there's a chance she could order it. All right. But $16.75 is not unreasonable. Like, again, I've been to more expensive steaks. So now, same woman, right? So now she's gone out with a doctor that asked her about her period. She's gone on another date with a guy that was all about, if I can't follow you up to your room, you just want sex and you're using me. And now she's on a third date with another guy and just wanted to get a nice meal and conversate. And he's like, but don't get the steak meal because I can't afford $16.75. These are 3 bad dates, guys. And across the board, women date guys like this all the time, right? So now we get to the next date she goes on. So we're at 3 right now. So this one, okay, so date nightmare. Went on a date with this guy and he wouldn't let me go home.
Dinner, can you at least like come back like one movie, like at my place?
I just kind of have to.
No,
go
like my
home.
roommates are out for the week.
I don't know. I just think it's kind of late. Like, I don't know.
Okay, yeah, but like I'll drive you home. Your mom doesn't.
All right, so to recap, doctor asked about period. I'm sorry, forget guys. Guy that got mad for not going up to the place, not going up to her place. Guy that wouldn't want to pay for steak dinner. And now a guy that's like, no, come back to my place. We can do movies and just chill. My roommates are gone. 4 dates, 4 bad dates. And a woman that is relatively attractive could be having these 4 dates back to back to back to back, right? This one, man, oh my God, you're not ready. Okay. So she's just leaving a date with a guy that got really weird.
When I tell you, I went on one of the worst dates I think I've ever been on, and I go on a lot of dates. And now I'm walking back to my car in the rain. Very spontaneously invited this guy to meet me for a beer. I was at a brewery reading a book, just having a little me night. The guy shows up. He's super handsome, tall, all that.
All right. Super handsome, tall, all that. Walking in the door, she's like, yes, this guy's amazing. He's already got a shot. You know what? I'm not going to try to test this guy because he's got all the stats. Just looking at him, boom. I'm in there like swimmer. I invited him to come here. So I'm definitely going to have a good time with this guy. I might even go home with him if he acts right.
But I'm not kidding when I say he did not ask me a single thing about myself. That is my biggest pet peeve in dating. Like, I was talking to a brick wall for an hour and a half.
And by the way, guys, be mindful of this because this is common. A common complaint I hear from women is, I went on a date with a great guy and all he did was talk about himself. He didn't ask me questions. He didn't want to get to know me. It was just all about him. And that happens a lot. And guys, we're very unconscious of that. We're thinking, okay, in order for women to get to want to date us, I got to like give her all my exploits. And then we want to go and just talk the whole time. And we forget, oh, wait, there's another person there that probably wants to talk about themselves so I can get to know them, which, by the way, guys, you need that intel. You actually want her to do 70% of the talking because the more you know about her, the better you're going to be able to plan dates, the better you're going to know how to talk to her, what things turn her on. And if you don't have that intel and just want to talk about yourself the whole time, you're going to lose out.
And honestly, I'm so fed up with dating that I actually said, are you going to ask me anything? Are you going to ask me any questions? And he literally said, well, it's a two-way street. And I said, I've been asking you questions all night. And then I proceeded to repeat many things about his life, about his family, about his job. And then he casually like moves away from me and like is not sitting near me, but like away from me because we're at the bar. I could not fucking wait to get out of that date. I will never see that man again.
So what's interesting is he's not ever going to be aware that what he was doing was weird. And this is where I got to speak to you guys about your ego. If you're having problems in your dating, or you find that women, you're getting dates, but then you're not able to keep them, you have to cop to the fact that there are probably things that you're actually doing on these dates that you're not aware of that are turnoffs to women. Like for him, his conversation, the way he acted, totally normal, totally fine. Hey, I'm going to back away from my date and she'll understand what's going on and we'll be cool. Like he's thinking that's all fine. Or he'll think, well, if it's not fine, then this just isn't the girl for me, because a girl that likes me will understand. You're losing out to women because of your ego, guys. If you're not getting the results that you want, part of it could be your ego so tied up in how you are right now is totally fine. You're being blinded to the fact that women don't agree. And in the dating market, all that matters is what the consumer wants. If the consumer doesn't want you talking about yourself nonstop or backing away or doing awkward texts, then you can't give that to the market and then be mad that they don't want to date you afterwards, you know? So we figured that'd be the end of it, right? She does a follow-up video talking about the various texts that this guy then sent her after the date. So let's look at some of those, shall we?
And to my complete surprise, 10 minutes after the date, he calls me. I screen the call. I'm not going to answer. So about 20 minutes go by or so, maybe 30, and I text him. And this is the response. This is his response.
So she says, hey, sorry, missed your call. Lie. Did you mean to call? He says, yeah, I did mean to call. I hope you enjoyed the date, and I'm certainly enthusiastic to get to know you more. So he's saying this after the fact. The problem was he wasn't showing it when he was in front of her. How is she supposed to believe that he actually means that now?
And I was really unpacking this. Like, I don't know where this message came from. And no less than a minute later, he responds again.
I don't think the feeling is mutual, so thank you anyway. So I guess he's got a level of self knowledge about the situation.
Hey, and guess what? And then he calls me again.
So he said, I wish you the best. And then like 5 minutes, 10 minutes later, he calls her again, trying to like talk to her on the phone. So clearly this guy is not aware of what's going on at all, or doesn't care.
Calls me because I didn't respond. I gather myself. I respond with this.
So she says, honestly, I'm surprised you called or even heard from you. I got the vibe you were anything but interested in me. I know dating and meeting new people can be tough, but we had multiple instances of complete silence, only to be broken when I asked you something. You barely asked me anything about myself and got kind of snippy when I made a comment about you not asking me any questions. So I'm super confused at the stark difference in perception of our meetup. This is where like you're thinking of like, you're so desperate to want to get the woman that you're not being aware of what's going on. Now he's like, basically like, I didn't see where there's a problem. We had a totally good conversation. Everything was fine. Like, what were you talking about? Everything was going on. You guys, you got to be more aware. Like if you find you're going on multiple dates and all the women are like ghosting you or leaving you or saying similar things, take that. Oh, I'm probably not doing something correctly. I'm probably acting awkward on dates. I might not be having the kind of good conversations that I think are good, because clearly if they're not wanting to see me again, it's not good conversations for them. Like have that much insight. All right. So anyway, continuing on.
And then I get this.
And then he says, do you like me? And you know what's funny? I get why this dude's doing this, because I have so many dudes that like will write me and say things like, it's been 3 dates. How can I be sure that she likes me or is dating me for me, blah, 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 blah. And my answer is always the same, which is like, you don't know. It's only 3 dates. To women, that's not enough time for them to have solidified their feelings. They need 2 to 3 months. So by date 2 or 3, by doing this, you're already saying, do you like me? Because I like you and I need your approval, princess. And please say you like me back, because I'm going to feel some kind of way. This is why, guys, as much as you're going to want to do it, you cannot be saying things like, I like you. I really find you interesting. I can see us together. Like, because to her, it doesn't matter what you feel. It matters if she's at that level. And when she is, she will come to you and tell you and let you know. And I know people think like that's not being honest with them. Your like for her, the level of like you have for her is going to be too much for her too early on, as I've said time and time again. Okay. So she's showing it right here. The guy texted her, do you like me? Now you're looking at this after seeing his previous text. How does that look to you guys? Okay, so if it looks weird to you, think back on, but have I ever sent text like this before? And you will get an idea of how weird the woman you sent that to, it felt to her, right?
What? I was like, I'm so confused right now. I don't know you.
I'm so confused. I don't know you. I tell you that time and time again, guys. Women don't know after one date if they like you enough to want to keep seeing you. They know, they'll know if they give you another shot, but they're not at the level where they're thinking, and I want him in a relationship capacity. That is where we get, that's not where they get. She just showed you. She's like, I'm confused. Like, how would I know if I like you? I just met you and had a kind of awkward date. So then he says,
and here are the last few text messages that he sent me before I decided to cut all ties.
So the text say every second doesn't need, because she said there were like awkward silences and pauses. And so he's like, every second doesn't need to be filled with words. Sometimes enjoying the moment or company is enough. Yeah, when you're in a relationship, but in the dating phase, it's going to be good to be able to have a consistent conversation that is enjoyable to both parties. You monologuing all about yourself and your likes and what you find interesting is not a fun conversation for women, and it's going to turn them off. But again, she wasn't trying to test this guy. She was just going to go on a date and have a good time. And then what happened was he started talking about himself nonstop, and she's like, crap. And to be fair, at that point, there were tests she could have thrown out, but she didn't. But she's like, this guy's going to ask me what questions eventually. Nothing going on. So let's just recap where we're at so far, right? We have, let's say you're one person, right? So first date, ask about period. Second date, gets mad for not coming up to her place. Third date is the steak dinner. Oh, we can't afford a steak. Another date is wouldn't go home with guy because with the roommates being out of town, right? And then fifth date is won't ask me about myself, and it's getting awkward on text and phone calls. So we have 5 dates a woman could go on that she hasn't done any test with any of these guys because she's taking them at their word. She's taking them at first sight. They look good, so they must be sane. Gets on the dates, and then bad crap happens. And this is just 5 dates in, right? So now let's get to the next date. Okay, here we go.
Comfortable if I'm being honest.
Worst date ever, a date from hell. Let's jump right in. He was on his phone as soon as we got to the Swan Lake.
So we got a guy that can't even put his phone down while he's on a date because work, we'll say.
When I finally said something about it, he assured me that it was just his job.
But again, you got to schedule dates around when it's going to be convenient for you to not be distracted. So she's right to call him out on this crap.
We ran out of gas on the way to the restaurant.
Why didn't the guy pre-gas the car? That is your job as the guy to have everything prepared in advance so she can just go through the night smoothly and bask in her femininity. When you run out of gas, she now has to go into her masculine of like, oh, how are we going to fix the situation? Women don't want to be in their masculine on dates.
He didn't like me taking pictures of myself and was like, let daddy be in the videos.
Now, to be fair, she should have been trying to video and take pictures of herself on this date, but him being like, oh, let daddy be. So he's already giving himself a nickname for her to call him. That's also a big red flag for most women. So
can't make this up. When it was time to pay, he asked, do you have your credit card on you?
For a date that he asked her on. So that's now 6 dates that a woman has gone on whereby she's had a bunch of crap happen in addition to guy on the phone. And all the same date, guy on the phone, guy ran out of gas, guy gave a nickname, guy tried to get her to pay. That's 4 bad things on top of the 5 other bad things that happened on previous dates. And she's still like, but I don't want to test guys. That's not fair to them. And I've heard I can find a good guy, I swear. Okay, next date.
I just think it's kind of giving me like a red flag, that's kind of turned off. Girls with espresso martinis. I'm going to order an Uber, but I don't have my card, so just Zelle me or something.
We haven't even gotten our food, though.
I mean, I'm not hungry anymore.
So now we go on this date. And this guy's like, he's one of those guys like, oh, in the past, I had exes that ordered a certain drink and then they ended up being a-holes. Oh, she ordered a drink. I can't date her. And then it's like, and also you need to pay for my ride home, right? She continues this story, by the way.
Because I ordered an espresso martini?
Yeah, I'm just really turned off.
Okay.
So the number one question everyone has been asking is, what in the world was that guy talking about? To be honest with you guys, unfortunately, I also have no clue. But something I do have to share are some texts from the aftermath. Okay, so
this guy texted her. Oh, God. Okay, so let's see what he said.
these are the texts I received shortly after he left me at the altar. Said, can you Zelle me $50? It was during an Uber search. I think that's only fair since you were the one who picked.
So be mindful, guys, right? Like, you know, for all you guys that are like, oh, like women won't date guys that don't have cars. This guy had no car and she still was willing to meet up with him. And this is what happens. So now she's like, crap. Now in the future, I got to test guys to see if they have a car or something because I keep having these bad experiences. But anyway, so he done said, I don't want to date you because of what you're drinking. I need you to pay for my Uber. And then ask me later, hey, I need that $50 for the Uber because, you know, it was kind of expensive.
The hotel bar. I just requested you. Hello. If you don't Zelle me, I'm blacklisting you from my frat. And then a little you up text.
And then still just hook up with the waiter because, hey, dude's going to try. Like, dude's going to try to get some action, even if things can be going haywire, right?
Later in the night. To everyone wondering if I Zelled that man, I did not. There's no need to worry. He's now blocked. I have no clue what that man is doing now. But something I do know is that every first date from now on, I will be ordering myself an espresso martini.
So, again, we're talking about if this is just one girl, right? We've now had one girl gone on 7 dates and has experienced being asked about her period. Guy got mad for not taking him up to the place. So many other things you guys have seen thus far happen, right? Leading up to this guy who's like, your drink sucks, so I'm out of here, pay for my Uber, and also I still want to hook up. 7 dates. And let's say this the girl's like, I have high hopes for guys. I don't want to test them. They should just be good on their own. And she's like, I'm going to give it another shot because a good guy's got to be out there. I shouldn't have to test these guys to try to shoot what they're worth.
Worst first date ever. He would not get off his phone when I got there.
Another guy that's on his phone. Guys, please don't. I don't care if like your guy's like, oh, I want to look at my phone to find funny memes or videos to talk about. Do not pull your phone out on a date. I would give a say note to you guys. If a girl's on a date with you and she pulls out her phone, ask her to put it away. If she doesn't, get the freak out of there because you're spending too much energy and money and effort for her to not pay attention. So you guys, especially if you're the one spending the money, why are you then on your phone? If you're nervous or apprehensive about conversation, I get it. Learn to have better communication skills, but don't use the phone as a friggin' crutch.
There. He even brought his baby that he didn't tell me about.
Wait. So now we got on the phone and, oh, I didn't tell you on the dating app, but like that's almost as bad as like somebody saying, oh, I forgot to tell you I'm married, but going through a divorce, right? But like, yeah, I have a baby and I couldn't find a sitter. So I just brought him along because you'll be fine with it. You'll be totally fine.
What are you going to get to eat?
I think I'm going to get the full rack of ribs.
Are you sure you don't want a salad?
And that's insulting because either it's like, A, I don't want to spend a lot of money, or B, you're kind of pudgy and I need you to lose weight. Either way, so he asked her to get a salad. That is not a good look. Guys, if you're asking a woman on a restaurant date, you need to know in advance what the whole menu is and be prepared to pay for whatever. If you don't think you can, don't take her to that particular restaurant. You can do a food truck. Out here we have in California, I could do a food truck burrito for like $12 each as a date and it'd be totally fine. Okay. But if you can't afford it, don't offer the date and then don't be mad later when she can't pay her half or she can't she's doing the salad. You're asking her to do the salad because you can't quite afford whatever she want to get on the menu. Like that's not fair to the women you're asking out.
No, I think I want the ribs.
And at the end of the date, at this point, I was livid. He told me he forgot his wallet.
Well, if you forgot your wallet, you can just like Venmo me or Cash App me. That's fine.
Sorry, I don't have Cash App or Venmo.
Okay, well, like your bank account, you can't just transfer the money to me.
Here you go.
I'm waiting for a check to pay.
And sorry, what was the last thing you asked me for?
A little container of carrots.
Oh, carrots. Yes, gotcha.
Well, honestly, I feel like you invited me here. Like, I feel like I shouldn't have to pay.
I thought you invited me.
Okay, guys. So we're going to rack this up one more time. So we have one girl, right? She's like, I'm going to go out and try to date. I don't want to be, men hate testing. I'm not going to test men anymore, or I'm not going to test men at all. This is like, say, a woman starting dating at like 16 or 17, right? So 17 to like, say, 22, she's dating. She swears she's not going to test guys, and she doesn't. She keeps her word. She does not test guys. First date, guy asks about a period. Second date, guy gets mad for not being taken up to the hotel afterwards and then says you can pay for your own freaking meal. Third date, third date, goes on steak dinner. Guy says, don't get the $16 steak. I can't afford that. Next date, goes out and guys like, come back to my place. My roommates aren't there. I swear we can just watch a movie and have a good time. Next date, gets weird conversation where the guy's talking about himself nonstop and will not ask her a question about herself. And then later on, text her creepy things that are like, well, I really like you and I enjoyed you and, you know, whatever. And I'm going to call you and be all creepy. So that gets weird out. Then goes on a date with a guy who in one full date talks on his phone and also, also ran out of gas to the restaurant, says, I'm your daddy now. And then ask her to pay for the meal. Goes on a date with another person. I don't like your drink. Pay for my Uber. And then next date. And you see how this piles on to where it's like, then you're guy number 9 she's trying to date. And next thing you know, you're on a date and she's asking you questions and you're answering them a certain way. And she's like, I don't want to see you anymore. And you're like, oh, I don't know what she was telling me was a test. How dare women test? They shouldn't. But she done had dates with 8 other dudes that you weren't aware of that she was not trying to test. And all she got was crappy dudes. Is it any wonder that by the time a woman gets to age 23, 24, she's like, I got to have some things in place to make sure that we're going to actually fit. Because when I don't test dudes, I end up with these dudes that do all this crazy crap. And then I'm supposed to trust you, a new person on a date that I just met for the first time, when those 8 other people were also new people that assured me that they would be great guys and then gave me crappy conversations, made me pay for stuff, push sex. Like, that is not a thing that's going to happen. So women over time learn, crap, I don't want to do it. I got to put some tests in place. And so once I understood that concept, I went into dating knowing full well that women were going to say things or do things at times to test me. And I'm like, you know what? Bring it on. Because I got to a place where I know the mistakes guys make. I know how not to be that guy because I've learned not to want to be that guy. And anything that woman's going to throw my way, I'm not worried about passing or failing because I'm going to be me. But the version of me that I am is not the kind that's going to push sex. It's going to be the kind that prepares for a date, puts gas in his car, plans out restaurants in advance that I know I can pay for. And so I'm going to do enough stuff in place to where all the experiences that this girl had with these 8 people, they're not going to have with me. I'm going to tell you guys something right now. It is actually very easy to date, and it's very, very easy to stand out to women, in part because of this. Like, if you just had in your head that the 8 guys she dated prior to you did crap like this, and all you got to do is not do that, you're going to be above and beyond most guys she's going to date. And most guys instead think, but if she's testing me, I'm going to be mad. If she pulls away from me, that's a test. I'm not going to give her the satisfaction. Did you ever think about stopping to ask why she's pulling away? Why is she giving you the pull away test? Why is it that she's, giving you asking these various questions or doing these various things? Have you considered that in the past, when she didn't do that with other people, she got screwed over? She had dudes that she hooked up with that they left, or she had dudes that she was trying to give a reasonable chance to that overtalked her, interrupted her, did all these things that she doesn't need in her life with a partner. So she's gotten smart to the game and said, I'm gonna put some tests out there. And if these guys pass these tests, then lo and behold, I can date them. So with that said, hopefully that gives you guys a little insight into like how it is that women even come to the first place of wanting to test guys, and that I've given you examples and visual proof of why it's actually warranted. Because the reality is, as much as you don't want to be tested and you think you're a great guy, she doesn't know you enough and has not known you long enough to be able to actually agree with your sentiment of yourself. You think you're a great guy. Fantastic. So does your family. She's going on a one-on-one date with you who are a stranger. You're not a stranger to you, but you're a stranger to her. And so as such, it is not a good idea for her to just take you at your word. And so when guys get frustrated, why are women testing? It's because they have a right to. Just like I tell you guys, you have a right to test women. You have a right to test them on things that are going to test their temperament. That's why the whole texting thing, like not texting between dates, part of that is a patience test. If I don't text a woman for 4 days and I hit her up for a second date, is she going to be happy that I hit her up for a date, or is she going to freak out that I made her wait 4 days? If she's freaking out, I have tested to see if she can be a patient person. She cannot be, and she's out. And that's just one of many tests that you as guys should be doing. You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-class man. You a high-earning, high-value, high-class man.